The availability of the 1500 series trucks for both Chevrolet and Ram has really put these American pickup trucks in the reach of a lot more people. Coming in at around $100,000, they're much more affordable than the bigger heavy-duty 2500 series trucks. But up until now, Chevrolet has only offered the 1500 LTZ in Australia, which is a $116,000 truck. And it's a luxury model. We've got all the leather features in it and maybe not what everybody wants. Now General Motors Specialty Vehicles has introduced this new entry-level model. It's the LT Trail Boss Silverado, and it comes in from $106,990. Not only is the Trail Boss a more affordable model than the LTZ, but it's more off-roadable and better suited to what we like to do. It's got 18-inch wheels instead of 20, and they're wrapped in all-terrain tyres. It's got a slight suspension raise at about 25mm higher with Rancho suspension underneath. It's got blackouts on the outside and better protection underneath, and plus inside it's not missing out on any of the big features you want. Sure, it doesn't have leather, but the seats are still heated and powered and all that sort of stuff. It's got all the entertainment and satellite navigation features you want too. We're out here in the bush in Victoria. Give it a go, see how she performs on the tracks. Here in the cabin of the Trail Boss LT Silverado, and for an entry-level model it really isn't missing anything. Like most American pickup trucks, there's plenty of space here inside, acres of room. You know, easily put 3 adults across the back seat with lots of leg room back there. Up front here, looking out over the bonnet, it doesn't feel any bigger than driving a Land Cruiser 200 series. It's not until you want to reverse park it somewhere that you notice its length. But you know, generally it's an easy car to drive, very comfortable and easy to use, easy to work with. 6.2 litre V8 petrol engine in this car really gets up and goes. It's got plenty of poke when you want it, but yeah, you pay a little bit at the fuel pump. Unfortunately with the 1500, the only option is this V8 petrol engine, there's no diesel option. But hey, it's a sweet engine if you're going to keep up the fuel to it. But you got to remember, this is 2.5 tonnes of big American truck. It's not a race car at all. 10-speed transmission works off a column shifter up here on the side, and it's got a little button there for manual upshifts and downshifts. It's not quite as intuitive as the Mercedes column shifter on the G-Wagon and other vehicles, but it still works pretty well. I like it because it frees up all that space in your centre console. When you're trying to get on with it and go a bit quicker in this, it would be nice to have a more tactile and user-friendly way of selecting gears manually, like some paddles behind the steering wheel, something easy to use than finding the buttons up here on the column lever. That 10-speed transmission is also very smooth. It doesn't seem to get confused at all as some other 10-speed transmissions have. Does its job very well, gives you nothing to really complain about. The 4-wheel drive system has an automatic setting, which is what we're in now, which is great on this gravel road because it gives you all-wheel drive when you need it, yet it's not locked up, so you can easily maneuver the car around when you're doing U-turns or parking, that sort of thing. Then you can go into standard 2-wheel drive, locked 4-wheel drive high range and locked 4-wheel drive low range. There's also an auto-locking rear differential. It's not driver selectable, it's automatic locking, which, as we've found in the past, it really, when it comes in, it takes a little while longer than having something that's locked in manually, but when it comes in, it really pushes you forward, gets you over the obstacle. It does a great job. Having that auto-locking rear differential is really a big plus for this vehicle because it's something it has over the Ram DT 1500, where you cannot get a factory rear diff lock in the ones that are specified for Australia. Bit of an oversight by the people at Ram, I think, and a big advantage for Chevys. The Trail Boss LT comes with the Z71 suspension package, which gives you the Rancho monotube shock absorbers, which raises the car about 1 inch all round. It really controls it over these bumps and so forth on these rutted dirt roads out here. Gives it a really nice ride. On the highway coming up here, well, it's sort of B-road highway stuff where it's windy. The Silverado drives really flat and handles a lot better than you'd expect of an American pickup truck. It's a really nice package on the highway, smooth and easy to drive. Really, these big American pickup trucks, they're great touring vehicles. And when you're on gravel roads like this, you can feel how perfect it'd be in the outback. Just big, comfortable, lazy touring vehicles that you can just eat up mile after mile on. The thing I love about the way the Americans set up the interior of their vehicles is the amount of storage options they give you. Not only have you got a massive console in between the front seats, but under the rear seats there's two big storage tubs with little indented cutouts in them for carrying your rifles, as you might do in the US. And also big enough to put a snatch strap and a couple of other bits and pieces under there, even a chainsaw. Plenty of room for that sort of stuff. Then you've got all the storage in the back, massive amounts of room there, plus the optional storage options which swing out and are lockable. One of the things that the Trail Boss loses to the LTZ is its towing and load capacity. On the Trail Boss, it's 4,260 kilograms on a 70mm tow bull, compared to full 4,500 on the LTZ. The payload is 725 kilograms compared to 760 in the LTZ. It still seems funny that these big full-size pickup trucks don't have the same payload as our mid-size utes, like the Ranger and Hilux, but that's the way it is. It's the way they like them in the US. The 6.2 litre petrol V8 engine is a beaut, but even so, there will still be many that are disappointed there is no diesel engine offered. On our drive, we managed 13.1 litres per 100 kilometres, and that's on and off road, and we reckon it's pretty good for a petrol V8 engine in a 2.5 tonne truck that's built like a Besser block. While the Silverado is nice and easy to drive on these dirt roads, it's not as nimble as you were used to with our smaller utes. It's easy to get around the corners quickly, but you got to watch out for the tight corners where you got to wind on some extra lock, and you got to watch out for the scrub and bushes on the sides of the vehicle too, because we don't want to scratch this car. It's brand new and that shiny red paint looks pretty good now. Once again, those Rancho shock absorbers really doing a nice job of controlling the vehicle over the bumps and ruts. The car corners nice and flat and stable, and I can feel the on-demand four-wheel drive system just delivering it just the right amount of drive to the front wheels as I'm putting my foot down out of the corners, not allowing the back to wheel spin and step out at all. Now, pulling a U-turn here over the table drain, that column shift action, which is not too bad. Nice big rear view camera, good side view out of the mirrors, and simple action there. Now pull that into manual, and you've got the plus button and minus button up here on that lever for manual selection. Once again, a set of paddle shifters behind the steering wheel will be much easier to work with than that button. So it's not ideal, but it'd be good for towing where you just want to knock it back a couple of gears coming down a hill into a corner, use a bit of the engine braking. The Trail Boss is based on the base level LT model, so it misses out on a few things like leather trim over the LTZ, but the seats are still power adjustable and heated, so you're not missing out on much. It's still got a good sized screen in the middle of the dash here with Apple CarPlay and Android, both available wirelessly as well as plugged in. It's got plenty of features, all the things you could ever want really, and make a great touring vehicle. The fact that it's $8,000 less than the LTZ really makes it an attractive option. In fact, it's a better vehicle than the LTZ because it rides better on these smaller wheels and bigger tyres, and it's got more equipment for off-roading with those good shock absorbers. It's a great package, I reckon. I really enjoy driving this Silverado, and if I wasn't living in the suburbs of Melbourne, I'd probably own one. A bit more space to get around in, and it'd be fantastic. After spending some time in the Silverado LT Trail Boss, we reckon this is the model that 4x4 Australia readers are really going to like. Just having those smaller wheels with all-terrain tyres, the Rancho suspension with a little bit of lift there, and none of the features that you really don't want in a luxury vehicle, this thing really ticks the boxes for us. It's a great vehicle for the Australian bush and the wide open spaces. Sure, there's no diesel option, so it's not going to be for everyone, but it's a beautiful truck to drive.